What's up, everybody? Charlie Marlow here. Quick video talking about the Cardinals hiring Chaim Bloom as an advisor to John Mozeliak, all right? I absolutely love this move. Maybe I'm too negative sometimes. The Cardinals haven't had a great year, let's be honest. I love the addition of Chaim Bloom coming to the Cardinals for several different reasons. I was going to sit down and do a video talking about this, but I was on Hot Take Central on 590 The Fan. Earlier today, we had this discussion. Jimmy the Cat Hayes and I disagreed a little bit. We always do. We always argue. And we're not even doing that on purpose. We just argue. But I'm thinking, why sit down and basically say the same exact things I said about Chaim Bloom on the radio when I can just intro it and throw to the clip where we talked about Chaim Bloom. I love the move for these reasons you'll hear in the discussion right now on Hot Take Central on 590 The Fan. Enjoy.
I think we have it wrong that suddenly John's setting up a little table in his office for Bloom.
I disagree.
I don't think that's it.
Look what happened already. Who did they trade with this winter? Which two teams?
The Red Sox.
And?
Rays.
And the Rays.
What are the two teams Chaim Bloom worked for?
His name is Chaim?
Chaim.
I told you that.
It's Chaim.
I said earlier.
I called him Chaim, and I just...
And then a texter said it was
there.
wrong, and I said, no, the texter's right. It's
Yeah, because he said Chaim.
Oh, I was messing with audio earlier.
He's a member.
So what are you going to say?
I think it's fascinating for a couple different reasons. I think the succession plan, which I think, if you go back to that press conference at spring training, what? Was it last year? So when John Mozeliak has his last 3 years, it seems like that's his last 3 years as the president of baseball operations. And then I think everybody assumes it's either Gersh or Randy Flores. Now, if Chaim Bloom is still here and he's been the number one guy for both the Rays and the Red Sox, I think it's an interesting basically discussion point if he could potentially succeed John Mozeliak.
Okay.
I'm not saying that can't happen, but I'm just saying my experience has been decisions aren't made by Mo in his office on the phone. They're made by the group, and my guess would be Bloom. Mo says, what do you think of this guy? Or do you know this guy? Can you help us with this? And then takes it to the group. I just don't think they're setting a little table up in Mo's office. Now, eventually, when Mo, maybe if it's a bad season or Mo decides to move on and try something else, maybe Bloom is the guy. I get the feeling Bloom will have another job before that time comes around.
Could be.
Because he's a commodity. And I think this is just sort of a holding pattern for him. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Haven't talked to him or Mo about it. I assume we'll know more about the role at the winter warm-up when Mo talks to people.
If you're Bloom, though, and you did really well with the Rays, you went to the Red Sox, big market team, I think it's fair to say it was pretty weird because he's a draft and development guy. It's kind of funny. He wrote the Rays way. You know, we have the George Kissel Cardinals way. He's also a pitching guru. So they brought him into Boston to do all their drafting and developing and kind of redo that. Well, the first year is COVID. You have a 5-round draft. They traded Mookie Betts, so everybody hates him for that. Mm-hmm. But that's also coming from ownership. So, again, I just think that what he does, basically working with the Rays where you're on a budget, to me, that's the Cardinals with about 2 to 3 times the payroll. I think he fits here better than the Boston Red Sox.
I think he'll fit wherever someone wants to give him a chunk of money. So,
but why wouldn't you in 2 years? Let's say in 2 years he could be the chief decision maker of the Cardinals. That's a pretty good gig. That's a pretty good gig.
He could. If you're asking me to guess, I don't know. I don't think any of us know. But if you ask me to guess, my guess would be he will have another job by then. Maybe he comes back, but I think he's in a holding pattern right now. So he'll advise Mo, and then other teams might present him with opportunity, and he could jump at that.
Go ahead.
No, I just think I get that. How many jobs are potentially better than the Cardinals, though? So let's say
they're cheap chokers.
Well, let's say he does really well this year. The Cardinals love him. I just think it sets up an interesting decision 2 years from now, in my opinion, because you have Gersh. He's been the number 2. He's been here forever. He's interviewed elsewhere, hasn't got those gigs. Randy Flores, it seems like, has kind of usurped Gersh as potentially the next guy. He's done great with the draft. But if you have Bloom in the room, and he's already done it twice with success, and when I say Red Sox, the success, it was up and down. But he's been the main guy. I think if Bloom is still here 2 years from now, if Mozeliak does want to move on, I just think that's very interesting. Do you go with the in-house guy of a Gersh or a Flores who's been here longer, or do you go with a guy like Bloom who's done it at a very high level with the Rays?
I'm not writing anything off, but Cardinals tend to like in-house guys. That's kind of their MO. And I know they like Gersh, even though what does Gersh do? That's what you always hear from Cardinal fans. Okay, he's part of the team that puts deals together or shoots them down. Flores, they like a lot too. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe Bloom is so brilliant with what he's advising that they're like, let's hear more from this guy, and he builds that up into something. But to me, right now, I would guess he's another set of eyes, like Mo said, that they could run things by. That maybe someone outside the pipeline sees it differently and gives them a perspective that they can use.
I think that's huge too, though. Isn't it fair to say the Cardinals had it rolling back in the day? They had that competitive advantage in terms of analytics and drafting. Let's be real. They've lost that a bit. So to bring someone in who was with an organization that was also at the forefront of drafting, analytics, development, I think it's perfect. Even if he's not the chief baseball officer 2 years from now, I do think bringing in a very bright mind from outside the organization that thinks like the Cardinals, I think that could be big.
Okay.
It's a big help. But I bring up A.J. Przinsky again because I asked him about, hey, they didn't win last year. It was pretty bad. It's been a while since they were deep, actually in the hunt to win a World Series. Do you think that the brand has faded? And he said, no, teams go through that and he's a guy, if he wanted to throw out some venom, he'd do it. He doesn't care. And then he talked about the Cardinal way and how not his thing, and he let them know early on. But he did say, and I thought it was almost touching, he said, he had a bad experience with the Red Sox. He came with a bad reputation, as a troublemaker, and then changed that literally in a short part of a season. And he said being a Cardinal actually made him love baseball again. Like, he actually loved playing ball in St. Louis, and he said it still has a great reputation as a place you want to go, but it all comes down to the money. If they're not going to pay you, they're not going to come. But he doesn't think the brand has faded.
What do you think of
It has a little bit.
What do you
Just
think
a little bit.
Did you see BD3's comments?
I did.
What do you think of that? Is that normal?
Just about they're probably done payroll-wise,
Yeah.
and he brought up the revenue challenges.
Yeah.
I think we all assume that.
Okay.
So that's why I think the Cardinals are probably done, but I don't think it's 100%. If the greatest deal ever came across the desk, they probably are interested. But for the most part, they're probably done.
Okay. That's all right.
Unless a deal presents itself, meaning you could get Cease for
$2.
Burleson. Straight up.
But real quick, back to Bloom. I always say judge people by their actions more so than their words. The fact that this dude is known as the pitching guru, and the two deals they made this winter were with guys he's literally had his hands on, pitchers for both organizations that he worked with, Red Sox, Rays. I think that's telling.
I mean, the Red Sox deal was basically, and I'm not, maybe did have a hand in it. I don't know.
But how could he not?
But, I mean, they dumped Tyler O'Neill. That's what they did. All right? I thought the Rays trade was good. I thought they picked up a legitimate bullpen piece. I like that trade a lot. I think the deal with the Sox was just a dump of a guy that the Cardinals had come to an impasse with.
But you don't think that Nick Robertson has some upside to be a reliever this year and help you out?
Yeah, he has some upside. I value player for player. I think Tyler O'Neill has more value, just not with the Cardinals. And I understand based on his injuries, there weren't maybe a ton of teams that wanted to roll the dice on him. I think Tyler O'Neill is going to end up being a good player somewhere.
I think sometimes we forget about how valuable a good reliever can be. When the Luke Voit trade happened, and the next year, COVID year, he's hitting bombs, look, Giovanni Gallegos has been a very good reliever for the Cardinals for 4 or 5 years. I understand last year wasn't the greatest year, but he's essentially been the Cardinals' second or third best reliever for about 5 years. That's pretty valuable.
There's no question.
So if Nick Robertson can be anything like that, that's a pretty dang good trade for the Cardinals.
If he can. Or what happens if Tyler O'Neill suddenly crushes and hits 30 homers and knocks in, 100 runs.
Stays healthy.
That's pretty valuable, too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying bullpen pieces are important, especially if there's questions about your starting rotation like the Cardinals have. Yeah, you better have a good bullpen.
But Tyler O'Neill, whatever he does this year, he wasn't staying here past this season. So both these deals, I hope they work out well for both teams. The Red Sox get Tyler O'Neill. The Cardinals get control with Robertson. And the same with the Rays. The Cardinals get a really good reliever for 1 year, and the Rays get their control with Palacios for 6 years.
Palacios, to me, has upside. Probably wouldn't have been here if there weren't, a ton of injuries, and he took his opportunity, ran with it. I don't think he's going to be a star. Hopefully he has a nice long career because he's a very nice kid. I like what the Cardinals got in return. I think they win that trade. Tyler O'Neill, who knows? There's too many question marks with what the reliever that the Cardinals got and what Tyler O'Neill's going to be if he can stay healthy.
Both teams can win a trade, too, though. I mean, the Rays are going to get Palacios for 6 years. If he's a John Jay player for 6 years, that's very valuable for them. For the Cardinals, they get Kittredge. Hopefully he's good this year. Maybe you sign him to a 2-year deal and he stays for a while.
That's it. That's all.
You can have fair trades, man.
Fair trade,
You don't
man.
have to always just.
That's right.
You don't have to destroy the other team.
That's right.
What's the most fair trade recent? How about? I almost had to let me clear my throat. Ryan O'Reilly, Tage Thompson. That's a fair trade.
Yeah.
Both franchises won. The Blues win a cup. The Sabres get a stud for the next 10 years.
Yep.
It's okay to have a trade where both teams win.
You're damn right, Charlie.
That's fine.
No,
There's
but
nothing wrong with that. Teams have different needs. Some teams want to win right now. Some teams want to win 3 years from now.
Damn right.
But who said that? Who said that a team has to win? We don't know what's going to happen, so we're talking about the trade. Who you think got the better part of it? That's all. No one said one team has to win and the other has to lose.
But my point is,
I think the trade to get Kittredge was a better trade for the Cardinals than the other trade because I still think Tyler has a big upside. That's all. I have no idea how I said I have no idea it's going to work.
my point, though, is you're getting Kittredge for 1 year. He's a proven commodity. No, let's be real about this. Nobody knew anything about Giovanni Gallegos in that trade, right? Who are we talking about in that trade? Remember the left-handed pitcher that didn't do anything? The reliever cat, what was his name? I can't even remember his name. That was coming over there from the Yankees. That was the guy who was talked about. What was his name? I forgot his name. Somebody in the text line.
I don't remember who.
He had a weird name in the trade, Cole.
And I'm working.
Anyway, my point is Nick Robertson could be a Giovanni Gallegos potentially for you. There's a lot of value there.
Is it Chasen Shreve?
Chasen Shreve is who I was talking
Shreve,
about.
come on.
Yeah,
Chasen Shreve.
Come on.
Yeah, I didn't like him at all, even when they got him. And you like JoJo Romero, the Cardinals.
Yeah, you knew.
I didn't. He wasn't like a kid. I didn't think he was that good. He could have been. I didn't know. JoJo Romero they got for a couple of Starbucks, right?
Edmundo.
And he was very good, right?
The Marlins and other organization wanted to interview Bloom for their president of baseball operations, and he declined. I think he wants a reset, and the Red Sox are still paying him. Danny Boy in Iowa. Hey, dude. Let's see here. Jay in Texas.
You want to go to the Marlins, though, if you're him? All I'm saying is the Cardinals are a lot like the Rays with more money. It's a pretty good gig.